What's up guys, it's Ollie from History Profiles and this video will be about Jack Ward, the inspiration behind Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean films. Jack was born in England in 1553 in a small town called Faversham. He spent his youth in the fisheries trade, but had dreams and aspirations to become so much more. Little is known about Jack's youth and young adulthood. His story starts when the Spanish Armada attempted to invade England in 1588. Jack then took the leap to leave Faversham and become a privateer. Now with permission from Queen Elizabeth I and the government, Jack could plunder and raid Spanish ships at will. Jack continued his career on the open sea as a privateer until 1603. In this time, Jack had now spent over a decade at sea and had acquired many skills such as sailing, manoeuvring ships, and swordcraft. He had also plundered hundreds of ships, which was only natural as the sea was now his second home. However, the new monarch, King James, decided to end the war with the Spanish in 1603, which put the privateers out of business, as they no longer had a license to raid Spanish ships. It is rumoured that Jack once again became a fisherman, but that fire in his belly still burned for a life out at sea. So in 1604, he joined what would have been the Royal Navy at the time, and he served aboard the ship named the Lion's Whelp. Jack didn't last long on the ship, convincing other crew members to desert the ship and steal a small 24-ton ship from Portsmouth Harbour. The now pirates elected Jack to be their captain. They swiftly sailed to the Isle of Wight and captured another ship called the Violet, as the ship was rumoured to be carrying a hoard of treasure that belonged to the Catholic Church. The ship ended up to be empty. However, Jack used this ship in order to grow his fleet, which would help him amass more men and more wealth. Captain Jack then turned his attention to the Mediterranean, where him and his crew stole a Dutch flyboat. This boat was so extravagant and armed that he renamed it the Gift. Jack then went back to his roots and began attacking merchant ships with his new prize, the Gift, which was full of guns and cannons, a real war machine for the time. He did this for the next 2 years. Consequently, Jack was involved in many sea battles, and his reputation as a ruthless pirate continued to grow. Captain Jack then sailed to the Moroccan Atlantic port city of Sale, where in 1605, many reputable English and Dutch sailors, including Richard Bishop and Anthony Johnson, joined Jack's crew. In 1606, Jack travelled to Tunis, where he agreed with the ruler there that he would use Tunis as a base of operations to plan further voyages in exchange for 1/5 of all Jack's profits from the looting and raiding of ships. From Jack's new base, he was easily able to capture more ships from all over Europe. These ships included the beautiful and immense ship known as the Ruby, and another which was called Little John. Jack would then arm his crew with guns and swords, and the ships would of course be full of terrifying cannons. Once Jack's ships and crews were ready, his fleet headed for the Adriatic Sea in 1607. However, not everything went to plan. A terrible storm scattered Jack's fleet. Jack was aboard his favourite ship, the Gift, and while sailing, found the Ruby, but that was the only ship that was located. After that disaster, Captain Jack sailed for the eastern Mediterranean. On the 26th of April 1607, Jack saw a marvellous and monstrous looking ship, and the pirate in him had to attack. To put it into perspective, Jack's ship, the Gift, weighed 200 tons, and the Ruby was 400 tons, whereas this monstrous looking ship named the Renieri Soderina weighed 1,500 tons. Jack and his crew had been pirating for years. They were all battle-hardened, ruthless pirates, living for the rush of the next fight, fighting for the thrill, the gold, and the glorious tales which would go down in pirate legend. Jack and his crew were creeping towards the Reniera and attacked. The firefight between the ships lasted 4 hours, with cannons constantly erupting. It was a sight to behold. The Reniera Soderina couldn't maneuver the light winds as well as Jack's small vessel, so Jack's ship, the Gift, was left untouched. This is a testament to Jack's skill as a leader and showed he was a master of the sea. Jack's cannons pierced the ship's hull, and then he decided to ram the ship, so finally him and his crew could board to cause further chaos. A savage fight erupted on the ship. Volleys of chained cannonballs were still being fired from the Ruby, and it was literally tearing the enemy men apart. In the end, the captain of the ship surrendered to save the rest of his men. The fight was over. Captain Jack had secured a new monstrous vessel, with its cargo being worth at least £1 million. Today, that would be the equivalent of £134 million. Jack was so prolific that Venice was close to declaring war on England, simply due to Jack's piracy. An ambassador for Venice, Secretary Espositioni, wrote, "That famous pirate Jack Ward, so well known in the port for the damage he has done, is beyond doubt the greatest scoundrel that has ever sailed from England." Jack then returned to Tunis and fitted his new ship with 60 brass guns, showing off his new military might and wealth. He hadn't been home to England now in many years, and he asked King James for a royal pardon. However, Jack was so well known and had nearly caused England to go to war with his actions alone, so the pardon was refused. The military dictator of Tunis, Uthman Dey, offered him protection, and Jack and his entire crew accepted and then converted to Islam. Captain Jack then changed his name to Yusuf Reis and also married an Italian woman, while he continued to send money to his English wife. Captain Jack, or Yusuf as he was now called, continued raiding the Mediterranean, commanding a whole fleet of immense ships. Eventually, he decided to retire and returned to Tunis to live a life of luxury with his immense wealth. He eventually died at the age of 70. Who would have thought that a small boy who started his life in Faversham would live through countless firefights, seize millions of pounds worth of cargo, and become one of the most influential pirates in history? An English sailor who saw Jack in Tunis in 1608 described him as short with little hair, speaks little, and is almost always swearing. He is drunk from morning till night, the habits of a thorough salt, a fool and an idiot out of his trade. How wrong was that nameless sailor who didn't know that Jack would become one of the richest and most influential men in pirate history. Thanks for listening to the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and stick around for more upcoming content. Bye.